As I said in the first episode, man, I've never been able to rely upon my physical stature. And I spent my junior high and high school years in the state of Texas. And if there's anything about Texas, it's that everybody's big. Everybody's huge. Even in junior high, they were big. And so by the time you got into high school, man, forget it. I loved sports as a kid, but there was no way I was playing for the basketball team or playing for the football team. I had to let go of all that. And so I couldn't rely upon stature. And so this is a place, man, where people are always getting into fights and trying to intimidate each other, using the strength of the body or the soul to try and intimidate other people. I could never rely upon those things. So it forced me to rely upon something else. And that something else I relied upon was me, my abilities, my personality, my talents, my experience, my knowledge. That's what I focused on. The end result is, years later, I had more confidence than the people that I went to school with. Most of the ones that I went to school with, I saw some weak stuff in them. Sure, a lot of them turned out great. But I saw those who were acting so tough back in the day, man, they had let themselves go. Their bodies weren't the same as it was before, and so they didn't have that to rely upon. And because they placed so much emphasis on those things, when they got older and the body changed, they had nothing else to rely upon. A lot of people are like that. Or, man, you just have never had anything to rely upon. You didn't have the physical stature or the money or the family name or going to the right schools or anything like that. And you didn't develop your talents or abilities, so you don't have that to rely upon. But when it comes to dealing with the issues of life, and when it comes to dealing with groups of people, when it comes to doing what you want to do in life, you've got to bring a flood of personal power. That's the one thing I know that I can do. I can bring power to any situation. You know, one of the things that's been of interest to me over the last couple of years is, you know, being now involved with a lot of these communities of military and law enforcement, etc. You know, I've gotten to know a lot of these extremely elite soldiers, Delta Force guys, Green Beret, Navy SEALs, and the like. And of course, like anybody, I hold these type of people in such high esteem. Nothing exaggerated. I just have tremendous respect for anything that is elite. But one of the great and meaningful things that's happened to me over the past couple of years is to be embraced in that community, to be accepted and even celebrated amongst that type of people, that echelon of people. And the reason being is because I'm just thinking, man, they don't need anything like a metal motivator. The metal motivator is for just a bunch of metalheads. But no, not at all. It's been quite the opposite. They've not only welcomed and embraced, but they've reached out and said, hey, man, you know, keep this up. You know, let us be a part of what you're doing. That's meant so much to me because it showed me that, you know, because I don't have their experience. I don't have their stature. I'm not a veteran. I've never reached anything like they've achieved in those particular circles. But what I found out was I worked as hard or even harder for a lot longer than a lot of them did. I've invested tens of thousands of hours throughout my entire adult life, and that is not a joke. The average time that I spend a week doing the things that I do has got to be somewhere between 80 to 100 hours. No joke. I've done that for years, living on 4 to 5 hours of sleep, first one up, last one to bed. You know, I still keep up sometimes that schedule, but here's the thing, is that it developed something in me that has converted to power. All of the tens of thousands of hours over many years that I have invested in developing myself and exercising my abilities has created something in me that has converted to power. And that makes me a powerhouse. I don't have to have the physical stature. I don't have to have anything that I rely upon in the physical. The powerhouse comes from within. It comes from the confidence. It comes from the full self-assurance that I have, that I know that whatever I meet, I will bring that power to bear. Now, you might say, CJ, you sure are talking a lot about yourself. Well, I don't have another example to show you. And I just feel like the way things began for me physically when I was young just make the point. And that is that to rely upon something greater than gender or race or stature or money or anything else, that you can rely upon something much, much more sure, and that is your abilities, that is who you are as a person, everything that you can do, and building that assurance, building that confidence through continual effort. Continual effort. Now, not everybody's willing to do this. Not everybody's willing to pay this price. I'll say more about that in the next episode. But I can tell you, man, it'll cost you something. It takes sacrifice. It takes investment. That's what it takes for something to then convert into power. You've got to be willing to do that. But I want you to have a hunger for it. I want you to get a taste for it. I want to ignite a fire in you to be willing to go after it, to be willing to push forward to your next level. There's always a next level. There's always something you can do. There's always something that you can improve. It's important for you to understand. You have not arrived. It's good that you have left, but you haven't arrived yet. There's a lot more that you can do and improve upon. You have to look at it that way, and you have to invest in these things without condemning yourself, knowing you may never reach perfection, but you don't condemn yourself for that. It's not about feeling bad because you haven't reached the next level. It's about always wanting to improve, always wanting to excel, always wanting to exceed where you presently are. Can you dig that? I hope you can.